Lisa, both doctors did not evaluate Amber Heard in the same way. So are different approaches fine? Do you have to nitpick rules and regulations about psychological tests?
Well, I think the guest you have right now would be better equipped to answer that question because she's probably done that. So there are an array of ways of coming up with a diagnosis, and both of them talked about their methods and what they use. Some of them were similar, and then some went beyond the other person's method. But what I do find interesting about PTSD and what we're discovering right now is it can't it's on a scale. Can it be completely debilitating? Are you depressed? Do you have a complete change in your function, or do you show up courageous, resilient, as Amber Heard's doctor had said? So knowing that there's a scale, I thought that there was a scale with depression, and knowing people in the military and police and people who have had incidents in their life and veterans that suffer through PTSD, a lot of them, I guess, are higher on the scale because they do turn to drugs. They do end up changing their complete function. They're not able to work. And these are the only PTSD victims that I have had to deal with, and knowing that they fit that criteria. So this is new information for me.
So Lisa, as most people are not in the medical field, can we make a true determination of which doctor is correct here? Or do you think people will just lean towards the doctor who they want to believe?
Yes, you're right, because either side is going to be dependent on who's being paid for what side and what they're going to figure out. You would hope that they'd be as honest as possible using their expertise and their skill set. But high velocity makes sense, and that's my language in the police department. High velocity bullets, things that are thrown, and projectiles, and that sort of thing. What would cause the most amount of damage? So, looking at that perspective, I would tend to agree with that. But again, we don't have a crime scene. We don't know how the bottle exploded. Did it explode? Were there multiple pieces? Did it crack in half once it hit the island and hit his finger? And then on the other side, on Amber's side, saying that because they didn't find any shards of glass anywhere else on his body, were they looking for the shards of glass, en route to the hospital? Did they fall off of his clothes? There are so many things that you can look at as far as what's missing to come up with a conclusion. But I would tend to, and I think any layman would tend to say, regarding a high velocity object, because of the multiple fractures that had happened, it'd be pretty challenging for him to do it to himself.
Well, the jury will certainly be talking about that and so much more because both cases have rested. We are waiting now for tomorrow to see what happens in the courtroom. We're going to take a short break here on Law and Crime. When we come back, more recapping of day 23 of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Stay with us. Lisa, sisters don't get along sometimes, but is Johnny Depp making it seem like Whitney and Amber's relationship was much worse than your typical sibling argument? What do you think?
I don't know if he's trying to make it worse or if it's authentic. I have 5 sisters, so arguments do happen all the time. You're right about that, Michelle. Fortunately, nothing physical happens. We were raised better than that. But here's the thing that I find very interesting. If you looked at Whitney when she was on the stand and she said, Amber hit him, she put her hand into a fist form. Then she said Amber slapped him and clocked him. And then it was a fist again. And both times they've used the slap interchangeable when it was an actual fist or a punch. Even Amber did that on the stand at one point when she said, I clocked him and I hit him and I never punched him. And we have audio of her saying, well, I hit you and you punched me. It was a closed fist. So we know that Amber has been an aggressor in several scenarios. And even with an ex-girlfriend or ex-wife that was brought up and somebody else had testified to.
All right. Well, thank you, Lisa, for that insight. Always great stuff. We're going to have to take a quick break here on Law and Crime, but when we come back, so much more to cover on Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's defamation trial. We'll be right back. All right, ladies, we have about 90 seconds before we go. So, Lisa, I'm going to start with you. Was it a good idea to have Amber Heard back on the stand?
I think they were looking for their final Hail Mary to allow her to rebut certain things. I think it was important to bring her forward in all of that. And I could say just from that statement alone, I already saw her perjure herself because she said she had not been laughing and snickering during court. And we've seen the side-by-side cameras throughout all of it. And we've seen her laughing and snickering in court.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to do it again sometime soon. I'm Michelle Yu. That will do it for me here.
Okay.
Anjanette Levy is up next with Michael Bryant, as they will have more from Fairfax, Virginia in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial. You're watching Law and Crime. Stay with us. We'll be right back.